Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I answer them to the best of my ability. During the Q&A, nothing is scripted at all. I look at the questions and I answer them off the cuff. I think this gives more honest answers and there is nothing off the table. If you want me to answer a question about anything, please let me know in the comments down below. Please try and keep the questions in this thread, in this particular video. If the questions are asked elsewhere, I do try and find them, but sometimes it's very difficult. And if I miss your question, I apologize. I will ask it next week. Just ask it again. Right, so there you go. There's some great questions this week. So we're going to get straight into it. No faff, no fuss. We're going to get straight into it with the first question. So the first question is by Sean McNulty Magician, and his question is, what book test did you do for Brad Burton's Now What book? It's on YouTube, and the page had been torn out the book. Okay, that's a very interesting story, actually. I'm really glad that you brought that up. That's a really interesting story. So if you haven't seen the video, I'm going to play the video for you, okay? It's not the best quality, but I'm going to play the video for you. To give you a bit of context, this took place at the business show. XL, it was either Olympia or XL, they alternate every year. So this took place at the business show in London. And I was on the 4 networking stand speaking to Brad. And I was speaking there as well. And Brad was launching his latest book, Now What, which launched the whole Now What movement. And he said, can you do something with the book for social media? Something really cool. And I was like, yeah. Now, I'd never seen the book before. And he said, okay, we're going to get the camera in 10 minutes. The books are over there. Grab a book. I want to see it. Do it for me. And I'm like, okay, I've got 10 minutes here to do something really cool. And I'm going to play the performance for you first of all, because I had at the time so many people asking me, oh, what's the method for that? That's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to spill the method for you right now and tell you exactly how it works. But I think you might be a little bit disappointed, to be perfectly honest. Let's start off by having a look at the performance. So I'm going to run the performance, if you haven't seen it, of me performing for Brad Burton using his Now What book. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, we're rolling, you can edit.
Okay, cool. Right. So we're here at the business show. We've got Brad's new book, Now What.
That's the book, show the book.
There's the book, Now What. Moving you and your business on the next level. That's what Brad Burton, his 4th book, best-selling author on Amazon. Google it. I'm going to do a trick with the book. Okay, before I do this, Brad, I've got my wallet. Shove it in your pocket. I'm going to get back to it in a minute. Okay. Yeah. I'm trusting Brad Burton with my wallet.
I help myself for people. I can't be trusted, but I'll try.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to riffle through the book. You're going to say stop. Now, there's probably 10,000, 20,000 words. 43,000
words of inspiration. Oh, yes.
There you go. 43,000 words of inspiration. Brad, I'm going to riffle them. You're going to say stop wherever you want. Okay? Stop. Yeah. Sure. Okay. You want to put it up. So look at the page. Remember the page, that page right there. Remember the page number, and then look at the top word on the page. First line, first word. Can you do that for me? Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at a word, and you're thinking of a word, and you're thinking of a number. Yeah. Now, tell me, be honest. I want you guys to look in his eyes. Okay, look in his eyes. That's really important. Be honest. Was that a free choice?
Yeah.
You could have stopped on any page. Yeah. Took any word. Is that fair? We're going to do this. I'm going to try and read your mind, Brad. I'm going to try and read your mind and tell you the word you're thinking of. First of all, the number, actually. Think of the number. Concentrate on the number. Okay, it's a 3-digit number, is that right? Yeah. 3-digit number. There's a 1 in it. Yeah. There is a 1 in it. Now, he smiled. That tells me there's actually 2 ones in it. Is that right? Yeah. You're thinking of page number 114? Is that right? But it gets better. You see, we're going to build this. Now, think about this. You thought of a word. You thought of any word. Imagine you're in a cinema. Hold on to the book for me. Imagine you're in a cinema. You're on the cinema screen. Is the word that you're thinking of. Now look at me, concentrate on the word. Imagine it's written in neon. Think of the first letter of the word, Brad. The first letter of the word you're thinking of. It's an M. It is an M, isn't it, right? Now think of a word, think of a letter in the middle of the word. Like, that's interesting. You're thinking of an O, you did think of an N. Then you went back to the O, you went back and forth for a bit, you ended up on an O, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah? Think of the whole word. Money. Is that right? You're thinking of money? Yes. Page 114. Yes. I couldn't have known that. I flipped through the book, you said stop, you saw page 114, you stopped on page 114 and you thought of the word money, right? Hold on to that. I gave you a wallet. Take out the wallet. See, before I did this, I actually made a prediction. Take out the wallet. See, in the wallet, I actually made a prediction. I took one of your other books and I ripped a page out. Now hold on to that book. I ripped a page out of one of your other books. Sorry about that, I destroyed it. I thought it'd be worth it for the trick. But look at the page that I actually took out. I ripped out a page, and the page I ripped out is page number 114, top word money. But wait, that's not enough for 4 networking. That's not enough for Brad Burton. We have to go one step further. Because Brad, when you flick through that book, you saw page 114 and you remember the word money, right? Go through the book that you've had the whole time and look at page 114. The page you saw, turn to page 114. There is no page 114, Brad. Open it up, no, open it up. Look. There is no page 114. And the reason there is no page 114 is because it's ripped out. Cameron, look at this. Ripped out. And this that he's had in his whole wallet the whole time matches exactly. This exactly matched. And Brad, I'm going to give you this book with the page ripped out so you can remember this. But by the way, remember, now what? You can get it now. Now what? Brad Burton's 4th book. It's going to be a bestseller. Pick it up.
What the fuck have I just seen? Ridiculous. Craig Petty, boys and girls. Craig Petty.
So that was the performance. And it came out really well. Bearing in mind, I wasn't planning on doing that. I had no plans at all to do any magic related to books or anything like that. I think I had some coins on me. I had a pack of cards on me, and that's about it. And I knew I wanted to do more than just a book test. I didn't just want to go, think of a word. This is the word you're thinking of. Because I thought for social media, that would be a little bit lame. There's a million book tests that are like way better than that. So I was like, right, okay, what can I do? And then I had the idea of doing the old routine where the page is torn out the book, like you just saw in the performance. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I gave that page to Brad at the very beginning? So I give him something. He holds on to it. He looks at a page. He remembers a word on a page. I tell him what the word is. And then when he goes back, the page has disappeared. Now, there are marketed effects that do a similar sort of thing to this, but I didn't have the time to put anything together. I had to just kind of wing it. So here's what I did. When I went over and grabbed a book, I actually grabbed 2 books. And what I did is I went to a page and I just ripped the page out. That's all I did. I just ripped the page out. And I folded it up, and I think I put it in a wallet or something because I didn't have an envelope or anything with me. So I think I just put it in a wallet. And then what I did is I took the book with the page torn out, and I just tucked it behind my back, underneath my belt, kind of behind, halfway down my trousers. So it was kind of sticking out halfway. And I had a jacket on over the top so people couldn't see that. So that book was hidden kind of behind me. And then obviously we have another book in play. So how the routine went down, and it wouldn't work on stage, it wouldn't work in any other environment other than what I performed it on, because I knew that Brad likes to be the center of attention on social media. He wants the camera pointing at him. So I knew that I could probably have it and engineer it so all the cameras were on him and I was off camera. And I knew, because we were on the 4 networking stand and everyone was there to see Brad Burton, all the focus would be on Brad as well. So what I did is I got the book, and this was years ago now, but I got the book and I said, man, there's a lot of pages here. And as I was doing that, I was looking in that book for the page that I'd torn out. And when I got to that page, I held a break with my little finger. This is a classic Mentalism sort of riffle force with a book. I got him to say stop, and I opened up at that page, and I got him to look at the word, I think, and I got him to remember the page number. And then I put all the attention on him. And I haven't seen this footage for a long time. So you're going to have seen it just because I'm going to find it off YouTube and put it into this video. But I'm pretty sure I said something like, now look in his eyes, stare into his eyes. You'll see this happen if you look in his eyes. I was focusing everyone's attention there, and the book was down by my side. It was completely out of play. And all I was doing is I was staring over there. I was getting the camera. The most important thing was for the camera to be looking directly at Brad. But I wanted everyone that was watching it as well to be looking at Brad. And all I did is I put the book behind my back. You know, I was holding it, my hand just dropped naturally to my side as I was gesturing, and I just literally slid it into my belt buckle and took the other book out and then came out with it. And when I'd done the switch behind my back, I then was gesturing with the book. And to everyone that was there, they felt like the book was in play the entire time, but it wasn't. It was basically just the world's worst book switch. But it got an amazing reaction. I mean, we had so many people contact me. That was during my enforced break from the magic community. And it was really weird to have loads of magicians who saw it going, what was the method for that trick? Can you tell me how that trick works? But it's an example of, sometimes you have to think out the box. And this harkens back, if you saw the pregnancy reveal video that I did on a 5x5 a couple of weeks ago, you walk into a gig and, halfway through the gig, they go, we want you to announce the pregnancy of our child. Here's the scan, figure something out. It's the same with Brad. You walk over to Brad. Hey, Craig, how you doing? We're going to go live on social media in 10 minutes. I want you to do a really kick-ass trick with my book. Oh, okay, Brad. And that's happened like millions of times in my career. So many times, people have put me under pressure. And I think that as magicians, this is why I'm not, although scripting is important, and don't get me wrong, scripting is important, I'm a big advocate of being able to think on your feet and be creative, and not just creative in terms of, oh, look, I've created a magic trick, but be creative in terms of, I've been put into this situation. What am I going to do to make this work for me? How am I going to make it so that this is going to work? Because we want the client to be happy. We want the person who's asked us to do this to be happy. We don't want to look stupid ourselves. And I think you have to think on your feet a lot of the time as a magician. The easy way out would be to turn around to Brad Burton and say, no, Brad, I don't want to do a trick with your book. I'm not prepared. I don't think I could do it. And I reckon some magicians would have done that. It's the same with the pregnancy reveal from the 5x5 a couple of weeks ago. Some people would get to the gig and they'd say, no, I can't do that. I haven't prepared for that. You haven't given me enough notice. But my attitude is, if I can come up with something that I think is good enough, why not? And that's what I did. So there you go. That's the answer. That's how I did it. It was not what you asked the question, what book test did I use? I didn't. I kind of came up my own thing on the spur of the moment using a book switch. And that is something that we need to learn. Have the ability to think on your feet. Okay, so the next question, again by Sean McNulty, is when you're doing your talk magics, do you do it via Zoom and are you mic'd up, etc.? Yes, I am mic'd up. I've got a mic overhead that you can't see that's attached to the camera. I think it's a Meteor mic or something like that. And are the people that I'm interviewing mic'd up? It very much depends. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some people that I've interviewed, they haven't done Zoom shows. They don't have a Zoom setup. I've interviewed people where it's literally just they're doing it on an iPhone, and I can't turn around to them and say, well, sorry, I can't interview you unless you have an amazing setup, because that's not going to work, right? I want to get the interview. For me, it's more important that I get the interview with that person. So there's some people where I've just gone, well, I'm mic'd up, they're not mic'd up, we're just going to have to deal with it. Then some people you go and speak to, and they've got a full setup. Ken Scott is a perfect example. Patrick Redford, Paul Martin, people like that. They've got their full setup. They've got a full studio. They've got multiple cameras that they switch between. David Jonathan was like that as well. And I can always tell when I switch Zoom on, and I let them in for the waiting room and we start the interview, looking at their backdrop and looking at the quality of their screen, I can immediately tell whether they've been doing virtual shows over the last 2 years or not, which is quite funny. So yes, there is an external mic. I do it through Zoom on my laptop, but I have got 2 external mics. The people that I'm interviewing, some of them have, some of them haven't. It depends on who I'm interviewing. Zoom is the best platform to use to do these though, because I can record in gallery and speaker. And then I can switch between views, because I want to make the interviews more about the person I'm interviewing and not really about me. And if it's gallery the entire time, you see me there the entire time. And I don't like that. I've seen other people that interview over Zoom and they just have that gallery thing the whole time. I don't like that. I prefer it that when the person I'm speaking to is speaking, I can edit from gallery into speaker and they're blown up on the screen. I think that's really important. So Zoom for me is the best way to do that. Okay, so the next question is by Leonard Miller. Hey Leonard, how you doing? When will you be going back to the Alakazam Academy for another coin class lesson? Had a lot of people ask me this recently, which is pretty cool. We planned 3 with Alakazam, and we're planning a 4th, but it's not about coins, it's about something else. The second one I think is going to take place in September. We're tying it up with me going down there and filming a couple of projects at the same time. With any luck, if the stars align, I'm going to have 2 new products coming out through Alakazam in the next month or two. One that I've spoken to you guys about. I think that I've mentioned this on the channel before. It's called the Cy Stebbins Project, or Beyond Stebbins. And it's all about, it's a special deck that combines Cy Stebbins with something else. And the stuff you can do with it is absolutely killer. And then I've got another project coming out, which I think will be part of their wallet range. And I need to film that one. It's not being filmed yet. I need to film it with them. So I think I'm going to go down there. I'm going to film that project and get that in the bag. And we're going to do the Coin Magic Academy at the same time, the second one, the intermediate one. So if you haven't seen the first one, the beginning one, go check it out. There's some amazing tricks on that academy. Some of the reviews were just fantastic. So, Sponge was an amazing, that was on there, and my purple and green coin routine are on there. There's a whole bunch of different stuff on there, but in the second one, in the second Coin Magic Academy, we're going to be delving deeper into more difficult tricks. Still achievable by everyone's standards, still achievable, but it's going to be a little bit more challenging. So hopefully in September, but watch this space because I'll be announcing it on here. Okay, so the next question that I have is from Will Yates. How you doing, Will? Hope you're well. And Will says, I think your videos need to be a little shorter and scripted out. Okay. Most normal people can't watch all your weekly content because there's too much content. I think this is affecting channel growth. Okay, well, I appreciate that, and I'd love to know what everyone else thinks. I'm going to address what you've said there, if you don't mind. So first of all, Magic TV, my vision for Magic TV is, it's not designed for everybody to watch everything. And I know that there's people out there that do watch every single video that I put out. Thank you very much for that. But that's not what Magic TV is designed for. Magic TV is designed to be almost like a TV channel for magicians. Now, I've had people turn around to me and go, I really don't like the rants. I don't watch the rants. My favorite are the magic lives. I like watching the performances every single day. And that's cool. I have some people say, I love all the review show stuff. I watch the reviews with you and Ryland. I watch the reviews on a Sunday evening. But the other stuff I'm not into. And that's cool. Some people just watch the interviews. Some people watch everything. Some people dip in and out. And that's absolutely fine. I'm not asking people to watch absolutely everything. I'm just wanting people to watch what they want to watch, if that kind of makes sense. So there's that. The second point is, you think it's affecting channel growth. Totally get what you're talking about there. But you have to understand that I started this channel a year ago, just over a year ago. I started the channel August 2020. So just over a year ago, I started this channel. We're now on, I think at time of writing, 7,200 subs, which is not sort of the levels of, Daniel Madison. It's not the levels of Chris Ramsey. But I'm not trying to compete with anybody, but I'm not trying to compete with Daniel Madison and Chris Ramsey. A lot of their subscribers, looking at the comments on their videos, are lay people, muggles. People that are into puzzles in Chris's case. Or, with Daniel Madison's case, I think there's a lot of people that are really brand new. They're looking maybe for secrets, I don't know. And also, they're just really charismatic guys. I'm not looking for that sort of thing. I'm just wanting people to watch this that really want to improve as magicians. Because I've felt for many, many years, I've got a lot of experience. And I want to give back. And I want to try and share that experience to the best way that I can. And the way for me to do that is YouTube, if that kind of makes sense. That's the best way for me to do that. Just like Metrix is the best way for me to teach a whole bunch of magic tricks that don't really fit with a particular project that I might be working with on a particular company or whatever, so on and so forth. And yeah, you're right, 7,200 subscribers in the grander scheme of things is nothing, but that's in a year. When you look at somebody like Real Magic Reviews, who are awesome. Real Magic are brilliant. I absolutely love Real Magic. Steve Faulkner is amazing. Well, he's been going for years and years and years and years and years, and my channel has passed his by almost 1,000 subscribers. Look at Michael O'Brien, who I love. His channel's been going for a long time. I've passed his channel by 2,000 subscribers. And the reason I'm bringing these guys, look at the Wizard Product Review, who I was on now. Wizard Product Review has been going like 13, 14 years. They are the quintessential review show, them and Magic Orthodoxy, right? and they've got 20 odd thousand, I think it's 25,000 subscribers. Well, I'm over a third of the way towards catching up with them. And a year ago, this channel didn't even exist. So yes, it depends on context, and it's the same with anything. It's the same with YouTube growth. It's the same with business. It's the same with growing a business. It's the same with being a magician. It's context. It's how you look at it. I could turn around and say, oh, 7,200 subscribers is terrible. Or I could turn around and say, well, 7,200 subscribers is great considering I'm after. And the reason I bring up things like Real Magic Review and Michael O'Brien and Tyler and people like that is because they're kind of after the same sort of niche that I am, if that kind of makes sense. So the growth is actually really fast. You know, we add, 20 or 30 subscribers a day. A lot of the days more, we've had 100 subscribers in a day many, many times. But for me, this isn't about a race to get subscribers. I've talked about how I want to get 10,000 subscribers for various different reasons. But that's just because it allows me to put the message across to more people. What's more important is I want the right people on this channel. And what I mean by that is, I see on Quora, I don't know if you guys are on Quora, which is a social media platform, where people ask questions and have the questions answered. A lot of the time on Quora, and you see it on Facebook as well, people going, oh, will you subscribe to my YouTube channel, please? And it's normally something that I've got absolutely no interest in. And they put this thing up going, hey, you see it on Facebook, sub for sub. Oh yeah, I want to grow my YouTube channel. You sub my channel, I'll sub your channel. Well, that's not something I'm interested in doing, because I want the people that watch this channel, I want the people that are subscribed to this channel to be engaged in the content, whether they enjoy watching the rants or they enjoy watching the performances or they enjoy watching the reviews. I don't really care. The stuff that they choose to watch, I want them to be really invested in what they're watching, right? If that makes sense. How am I? I saw it the other day. It was an Indian lady speaking not English, about cooking, something I'd never even seen before. And she sent me a message going, please, will you subscribe to my channel? Well, no, I'm never going to watch one of your videos. You're never going to watch a video on magic, nor would I want you to watch a video on magic. So why would we do a sub for sub? It's just like ridiculous, which is why the watch time is so high on this channel, or I think it's so high. The watch time is almost 20,000 hours a month, which is pretty high. That's the watch time, almost 20,000. It fluctuates. Sometimes it goes down, sometimes it goes up. But generally, as a rule, it's between 15 and 20,000 hours of watch time a month. Now, to put that into context, for a channel to be monetized, in order for a channel to be deemed as successful, you've got to have 1,000 subscribers and you've got to have 4,000 hours of watch time a year. And a lot of people will go, oh my God, how do I get 4,000 hours of watch time a year? How can I get 4,000 hours? What's the techniques to do 4,000 hours of watch time a year? Well, this channel does 5 times that in 1 month. So that shows me that the people that are on this channel are being engaged and they're watching the stuff, which is absolutely amazing. The rest of it will happen over time. I'm in no rush. It's not like I'm trying to set up YouTube to become a millionaire. I know some people have said it in the comments, oh, Craig's clickbaiting because he wants to make money from YouTube. Trust me, you don't make money from YouTube. You really don't. I do this because it's a great way for me to share information that I think people would find valuable, and it's why I don't push. It's why you don't see me at the beginning going, hey guys, before I start, please subscribe to the channel. I'll mention it at the end, but not at the beginning. You won't see subscriber icons coming up every 5 seconds through the video. That's just not what I do, because I want the right people to be engaged on the content. And as for your other points, the videos need to be a bit shorter and scripted out. Cool. I mean, a lot of the videos are scripted. We don't, the magic stuff's totally scripted. Well, not scripted. I don't script anything. I don't script my shows, but I have a clear idea of what I'm going to talk about. If I'm talking about the 12 best everyday carry items, I'll have scripted out what the 12 items are going to be, and I know in my head what I'm going to be talking about and the pros and the cons and the most important points. I know all of that. If I'm doing a 5x5, I know what I'm going to be talking about on those particular 5 subjects. I've already kind of thought it through in my head, maybe jotted some notes down. The review shows aren't scripted because I can't script Ryland. He's 8. I can't script him a lot of the time. I just have to react to what he says and just go with it and just kind of try and steer him in a particular way or whatever it may be. These Q&As aren't scripted because I honestly think it's better if I just look at the questions and answer them off the top of my head. But I think that's a more honest approach to it. Could they be shorter? Absolutely. But, and I've had people say to me, oh, maybe you could do it in shorter videos. And yeah, maybe I could do it in shorter videos. Or maybe the people that watch it, if they can't watch it all in one go, they can come back and watch it again a little bit later and do it over 2 or 3 sittings. I don't know. You let me know what you think. Do you want less videos on this channel? Would you like me to reduce the content by half? Would you like me to put less content out? Would you like the videos to be shorter? Would you like me to spend more time on each video so they're completely scripted and I have talking points or I have a, like a thing that's prompting me, a teleprompter? I can do all of that. That's absolutely fine. I just think the raw approach is the best way to do it. But it doesn't mean that I'm right. I ain't got all the answers. I'm learning this YouTube stuff as I go. And all I know is the subscribers that are on this channel, they guide the way that the channel goes. So I want you guys to let me know. How do you want this channel to be? Do you want less videos? Do you want shorter videos? Let me know. So the next question is by Alakazam. Craig, good day. Good day, Alan. You may have already spoken on this. Is Metrix available to watch? If so, when and how will we have access to watch it? Well, Metrix is currently being built. Our goal is to launch at some point towards the end of October. We've always said kind of late 2021. However, I would rather hold it back a month or two and have the perfect product released than have something that people go onto and go, oh my God, this is terrible. So we want it to be absolutely right. It's going to launch with 100 different tricks, a huge, massive slide section, a theory section, a discussion section where me and Steve Della are discussing a whole bunch of different things about being a professional magician. There's a marketing section, and then we're going to be constantly adding to that every single fortnight. There's going to be more tricks coming out. There's going to be more content coming out. There's going to be stuff that we elaborate on that I might have touched on YouTube that we're going to go into more detail on there. And obviously there's an absolute ton of tricks, some of my favorite tricks. In fact, there's a trick with an invisible deck that I came up with after the Visible project ended that I've just shot for Metrix that's absolutely killer. If you like the stuff on Visible, there's this particular thing. I only came up with it a couple of weeks ago and I've worked it in about 5 gigs now, getting killer reactions. It really is. So that's just been filmed for things in there. And there's a difficulty rating on each one. It's so cool because when you go into it, each trick has its own landing page. And on the landing page, there's a description. There's a trailer for each individual trick. There's a Q&A, including the slides that are used in that trick. There's a difficulty rating. And then there's a thing about the instructor where you get to read all about the instructor because obviously it's not just me on there. There's a whole bunch of other people. I've already announced John Carey is a part of Metrix. I've already announced that Steve Della is a part of Metrix. I've already announced that Chris Congreve is a part of Metrix. And I will be announcing more names soon. So, the way to keep on top of when it launches is to go onto Magic TV, www.magictv.org. That's www.magictv.org. And go on the contact page. Just put in your name, put in your email address, put in Metrix. And then we're not going to spam you. I don't do that. But what I will do is on launch, when it's about to launch, we'll send you an email about what it is, and there's going to be a video explaining everything. I'm going to do a kind of a video where you can see everything. It's going to be really cool. We're going to be very transparent about this. So if you want to be kept up to date of when it's launching, just go onto magictv.org and fill in your email address. Okay, so the next question is by Ablo Fluido. How you doing, buddy? Haven't seen your comments in a couple of weeks. Hope you're well. Question for next week. What are your favourite card tricks that meet all 3 of these criteria? Number 1, from a shuffled deck. Number 2, no card selected by the spectator. And number 3, no table required. Man, that eliminates a lot, doesn't it? You take... Oh man, I was reading it through and I'm thinking from a shuffled deck of cards. Okay, so that eliminates a whole bunch of stuff. No cards selected by the spectator. That eliminates so many routines, doesn't it? And no table required. Bloody hell. Okay, so first of all, can I throw a 4 of a kind production in there? I guess I can, because obviously with a shuffled deck of cards, I can cull the deck, or there's a million different ways of getting the 4 aces or whatever I want into a position where I need them, if that kind of makes sense. So I think the first thing that I'd do is I'd say a 4 of a kind production. I think 4 of a kind productions are super fun. And there's a load that I do that are really engaging. One of my favorite 4 of a kind productions is Cut 'em High and Tie, which is kind of John Bannon stroke Bill Malone. It's that one. If you haven't seen it, it's such a great premise. You talk about how you're going to you're gonna get each person to cut a. You talk about card games basically, and how a game you used to play when you were a kid was cut 'em high, and the idea is each person cuts to a card. Whoever cuts the highest card wins, and you get each person to cut. You get 4 people to cut a packet of cards off. And then you say, right, on the count of 3, everyone turn the card over. Let's see who's won. 1, 2, 3, boom. And they've all got the kings or they've all got the aces. And you go, all right, that was a tie. That's really nice. I really like that. That's great. And, you can do that from a shuffled deck of cards in use. You're not having a card selected. So I think that works. I think you'd have to throw oil and water in there as well. Because oil and water is brilliant. So the oil and water that I prefer doing, and I've done it on this channel a few times, and you guys have said nice things about it, and it's on Metrix. Talking about Metrix is Oil and Water Extreme, which is from a shuffled deck of cards in use. So you have a deck of cards shuffled, you take out 4 red cards and 4 blue cards, and then you mix the cards face up into face down, and you give them to a spectator to hold on to. And there's no table. You do 3 phases of oil and water in the spectator's hand, and each phase gets more and more impressive. And then when you've done that, you go and the deck that they've been holding all turns face down, and then when you look at them, even though they shuffled the cards have separated into red and black, which is really nice. I absolutely love that moment. And if they're convinced that the cards are shuffled, which they are, the moment where the cards separate into red and black is a really strong moment. So I'd have to throw that in there. Can I do Reset by Paul Harris? Is that allowed? Can I do Reset? Because technically I'm not having a card picked. And it's a shuffle deck of cards, but I'm going through and I'm taking out the 4 kings and I'm taking out the 4 aces and I'm going into that routine. So maybe I could use that. I quite like that. And then my all backs routine that I put on Slim, that's also on Metrix, which is the all backs routine where you're not having the card picked, but you go, look, I'm going to cut the deck. Oh, hang on, these cards have got backs on both sides. And you show, because even though there's a small setup to that, on Metrix, I talk about how you can actually get into that in the middle of a routine. So you can have the deck shuffled, and I go through how you can actually engineer that. So I think I'd throw that in there as well. There's another routine. If you search YouTube for it, you'll see it. It's called Toxic Coincidence, which I originally put on my DVD parlor. It's also on Metrix, and it uses an iPhone calculator, and it involves 5 people. It involves a person taking 5 cards, but it's not like a selected card. They're not like picking a card and then you've got to find it. You have 5 cards taken out the deck, which you then have them mix up. And the whole idea is these 5 cards match what's on the calculator after they've done all the additions and subtractions and toxic related stuff. So that's a really good one. When you think about it, there's quite a few. My go-to card trick from a shuffle deck of cards at the moment is Threesome by David Jonathan. I absolutely love Threesome. The problem is it involves having a card pick, so it doesn't really match your criteria. But I think all of those that I've just mentioned to you, Triumph would match the criteria as well if you were doing Triumph as not having a card picked. So if it was a demonstration of I'm going to shuffle these cards face up into face down and look, they've all gone the right way, maybe you could then have the deck sort itself out into new deck order or something like that as well. But yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Out of This World, I do from a shuffled deck of cards. I'll have the cards shuffled and I'll do Out of This World. And I think sometimes people forget how good Out of This World is because it's been around since the age of time. But Out of This World is absolutely brilliant. So I think I'd throw Out of This World in there as well. So there you go. That's a great question. Guys, do me a favor. Let me know in the comments down below. What's your favorite card trick that matches Ablo Fluido's conditions from a shuffled deck, no card selected by the spectator, no table required? You know what? I might do a magic stuff. I might do a 3 best things and go through my repertoire and go through stuff I've learned and put together a video on that. I think that's a really good question. Okay, so the next question is from Lewis Turner, and Lewis says, Craig, I compare your new presence to that of a phoenix rising. I, as well as many, thought you had burnt out or murdered Dave and were serving time. Okay. From the ashes, a revitalized Craig Petty arises and hits the magic world of social platforms with an atom bomb-like rebirth, capturing the magic community with an unexpected but highly anticipated comeback, with more shows covering different aspects of magic every day. Is your secret vitality found in a liquor store, doctor's office, or marijuana dispensary? Thank you. I appreciate that, Lewis, I think. And you know what? A lot of people were surprised to see me back in the magic community. When I left, and I've talked about this on the channel, so we don't need to go into this in any great detail. But when I left many, many years ago, I left with a lot of the community not really liking me. You know, I'd been very outspoken about the magic circle. I'd been accused of exposing illusions. I'd been, had been ripped into for red, which we've talked about in great detail. People ripped into a couple of my products, and there was all the stuff that went on with the Wizard product review, and it was all getting too much. It was all getting too much, and I left the community. And honestly, my intention was to never come back. My intention was to carry on doing magic and just do magic for people that paid me to do magic, because I've always loved magic. I always have loved magic. I always will love magic. Nothing changes there. It's not like I've suddenly come back to the magic community and found my love for magic. I love magic. I eat, breathe, and sleep magic tricks. And when I was away from the community, I continued to love magic as much as I do now. I never expected to come back, though. I never expected to come back. I was like, I'm happy. I've got a family. I've got a wife. I've got kids. You got to remember, when I was doing the Wizard product review, I didn't really have kids. I was doing it way before Ryland came on the scene. And it was only sort of, I would even be willing to say, I'll tell you when it was. I did my first Blackpool just before COVID hit. I went to Blackpool with Nemid Phoenix, my friend Nemid Phoenix, in February, and then COVID hit in March. And it was my first Blackpool for years, because I always found a reason not to go. I always kind of thought, I'm just going to go there. It's going to annoy me. I'm just going to have a load of people having a go at me. What's the point? But then they asked me to do the bear pit, which I said I would do. And Nemid said, let's go together and blah, 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 blah. And we did. And I had an absolute blast. And it was after Blackpool that I began thinking, well, you know what? Maybe it'd be nice to come back to the magic community. Maybe it'd be nice to actually, spend time around magicians again. I've kind of missed this. And at the same time, Ryland was getting more and more into magic. And then COVID hit and everything kind of got all screwed up. And for the first few months, and the reason this channel didn't launch at the beginning of 2020, because everything got locked down in March, and it was August really when I set this channel up. The reason it took me so long is mainly because for the first few months I was scrambling around trying to figure out how to do virtual shows. I was trying to figure out how to save my businesses, really. Within the entertainment industry, obviously everything went away, and I was working really hard on that side of things. We were doing this thing called NSK TV. We were putting out 7 sort of kids entertainment things on the Non-Stop Kids channel every single day, and that kind of took all of my focus. It took everything. That's what I was doing day in, day out. And then what happened is we started getting really good at virtual parties. We were doing less social media content and we were doing more performing. And I was training the rest of the team how to do that. And then it allowed me to spend more time basically looking at magic tricks. I spent a long time with Ryland looking at magic tricks, and that's why we started the review show, which was the very first thing that we did. And off the back of the review show, I think the next thing I did was a rant, and then after the rant we did another review show, and it just kind of went on from there. It wasn't a planned out thing. I wasn't planning on coming back to the community and being this whole, right, I'm back and I'm going to be producing all of this content. It wasn't like that. It just kind of happened organically and naturally. And the reason I've started releasing magic tricks again isn't because of a burning desire to be famous. I've been there. I've done that. I went to Magic Live with Dave Penn, and people were treating us like celebrities. I had people like Paul Harris walking over, going, "Oh, been there, done that. Bought the T-shirt. Don't need it again." That's not why I do the channel. I do the channel because I enjoy doing it, and it's fun. And as long as it continues to be fun, and as long as Ryland continues to enjoy doing the channel, I'll continue doing it. The second that it becomes a cross to bear, and the second that I don't have fun with it, I'll leave. But that isn't on the horizon. That doesn't look like that's going to be happening at all, if at any point, just because I'm having an absolute blast. I'm enjoying producing the content. I have a feeling of euphoria that I'm giving content out to people for free that I think is benefiting people. I love reading the messages and the comments. So, I'm having a blast. So long may it continue. So to answer your question, long way to answer your question, is your secret vitality found in liquor store, doctor's office, or marijuana dispensary? I don't do drugs, and I do drink, but not very often. I think it's just, I like being busy. I like being busy. Anybody who knows me will tell you I can't just sit there and just do nothing. I like being busy, and this is a way of me being busy, and I feel like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm doing something positive with my time. Okay, so the next question is again by Sean McNulty, Magician. How you doing, Sean? And the question is, what are your top 3 best Alakazam tricks? Man, they vary from time to time. I'm sure Harry Nardi asked me this last time I was at Alakazam, and this is probably a completely different answer to what I said then. Although number 1 always stays the same. Number 1 always stays the same. Number 3, in third position. Okay, so in third position, there's so many, isn't there? There's so many. Can I say gossip? Because I do it more than any of the other Alakazam tricks. Can I say gossip? No, I can't say gossip, can I? Okay, in third place, I would have to say... Okay, in third place, I'd have to say Roll by Chris Congreve. I've only just started doing Roll, and it is so incredibly clever. The routine and the handling is just genius. It really is a great trick. If you haven't seen Roll, I did a video recently, the 3 best tricks with dice that you've never seen before. I did do Roll on there, so if you want to go and have a look at that, please do. Roll is amazing. I absolutely loved it. In second place, I'd have to say... oh my gosh, it's so difficult. It really is. It really, really is. I'm going to have to say that thing that they did with the Las Vegas deck and the poker chip, because I do that at so many weddings. Like, one thing that I like to do when I'm at a wedding is everybody's talking about weddings and marriage. So I like to talk about where I got married, which is in Las Vegas. And it's the perfect reason for me to bring this deck of cards out. So it fits my character, and it fits my style, and it fits the environment perfectly. And then in number 1, number 2 and 3 might change from time to time, but number 1 never does. Number 1 is the Extractor deck, which I think is the greatest tool ever produced for magicians. Let's be honest, how awesome is the Extractor? You have someone pick a card, they sign it, they put it back into the deck themselves. There's no sleight of hand, they genuinely push it into the deck. You close the cards into the box, you put the box away, and in that action, you've peeked the card and loaded the card into a wallet, which you can then reveal that the card's jumped into the wallet with no moves. It's unbelievable. It is so good. I absolutely love the Extractor, and if you haven't got Extractor, you should get it. And there's also, as a little bonus one here, pick up Conquer Coins. Conquer Coins is great. I don't see hardly anyone doing Conquer Coins, but for a walk-around magician, Conquer Coins is one of the best coin tricks you can do. And there's no skill, there's no sleight of hand, there's no moves. You can literally just do it. So there you go. Conquer Coins and the Extractor. Okay, so the next question is by Jack. Hey, Jack, an idea for a topic. I think script writing can be a good one. How to structure a script, how to apply it while performing. You could go really in-depth with something like that. Totally agree, mate. I am doing a magic stuff on that very, very soon. So look out for it, okay? Okay, so the next question is by John437, and John437 says, what is the best way for me to release a magic trick and have it be really successful? Should I self-publish? Should I go through a company? What should I do? This is a really interesting subject, and it's a question that comes up on this channel over and over and over again. And there's a way of actually bringing a product out and having it successful. There's certain things that you can do. And what I'm thinking of doing in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a big one to put together, but I'm planning on doing like the ultimate guide to releasing a successful magic trick. You know, like I did the ultimate guide to becoming a successful magician, and everybody loved that, and it was a really popular video. I'm thinking about doing the ultimate guide to releasing a successful magic trick and talking about absolutely everything. What you need to do when you're creating the trick, what you need to do when you're publishing the trick, what you need to do, which companies, the pros and cons of each company, what it means self-publishing versus going through a company, how you can actually go directly with Murphy's, the advantage of going directly with Murphy's over somebody like directly with a company that puts their products out through Murphy's, the advantage of going through somebody like Penguin, all of this stuff, and then talking about what you can actually do to make it successful and the stuff that you need to do behind the scenes, absolutely everything. If this is something that you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments down below. I'm planning on putting it together, but I'd like to know that you guys are into it as well. So the next question is by Steve Silverman. How you doing, Steve? Hi, Craig. Really love your videos. Thanks, bro. I purchased Visible and it's totally worth the price. It's an incredible value. Thank you. I'm having trouble breaking in the 2 decks. I tried your suggestions a few times and I've had no success. Do you have any suggestions to help break in the cards? I genuinely, and I'm not being funny, I genuinely can't remember what I said when, because it was a 4.5 hour project that we filmed like 6 months ago. So I can't remember and I haven't watched it back yet. However, here's a few things that I would say if you're breaking in an invisible deck. First of all, and this is probably the most important advice when it comes to any card magic, have a light touch. Most people that I see struggling with a roughed deck, like an invisible deck, they're kind of really being very ham-fisted with it. I'm not saying you are, but that's the first thing that I see people doing. You want a very light touch, okay? A very, very light touch. Just because you're putting pressure on it, on the cards that you're trying to separate, doesn't mean that that's going to help. In fact, it's going to do exactly the opposite. You want a very light touch. That's the first thing that I'd say. Second thing that I'd say is dribble through the cards quite a few times. Just literally dribble through them, and in an extreme case, you can take the cards and take the backs of the cards and rub them on a close-up mat one at a time. Just rub them down. You're just wanting to get a little bit of that excess roughing fluid off. You also can leave them overnight out of the box. Just leave them out of the box overnight. All of that will help. The other thing is, if you've got dry fingers, that can sometimes affect separating the roughing fluid. If you have got dry fingers, there's a couple of different ways of dealing with it, but the easiest solution to dealing with dry fingers is to have a thumb tip in your pocket and get a piece of sponge, get one of those king-size thumb tips, and get yourself a piece of sponge that you've dipped in water and put that in the thumb tip. So it's not wet, it's not full of water, it's just damp. And then what happens is, just before you're going to go and perform, just put your hand in your pocket, stick your hand in your thumb in the thumb tip, and just rub your fingers and your thumb together. And then what will happen is you'll have a kind of a moisture to your hand. You can get creams and lotions to do the same thing if you want to as well. Magic shops sell them. But the end result is your fingers are going to be less dry, and that dryness of the fingers can sometimes affect separating a rough deck. That's really the advice I can give you. I mean, the biggest piece of advice, and the reason that I find that most people struggle separating a rough deck or separating an invisible deck, is because they're putting too much pressure. They're being too ham-fisted. A light touch is all that's required. And it goes against what you'd think. You'd think that applying pressure would be the best way to separate cards, but that's absolutely not the case. So try with a light touch, and if you're still experiencing problems, then let me know. Tom Marquette says, have you clocked the number of words per minute that you speak? No. Okay, so the final question is by Frederick470, and he asks, what are Ryland's dreams? Does he want to be a professional magician? Well, I mean, Ryland's 8, right? So, I mean, he changes his mind from minute to minute. Although, having said that, he's always been, ever since he started doing magic at the age of 3, he's wanted to become a professional magician, and he goes out and does gigs. He goes out and does gigs quite a lot. During lockdown, he was doing lots of virtual shows with me. He actually had a contract with a corporate company teaching kids how to do magic tricks, simple magic tricks. Every week he was doing like this live session over Zoom, which was really cool. And he performs. He's performed not his own show ever, but he's been part of ensemble shows. So when we've put on shows, he's been part of that. He's performed at a few business conferences. Like if I've been booked to do a half an hour set, he'll come on and do 15 minutes first or something like that. So he's very, very confident performing on stage. He's done quite a lot of close-up stuff. He's done weddings. He's done his first magic show. His first kids' magic show was at the age of 4 at his nursery. He did a 40-minute show at his nursery. As he was leaving nursery to go to school, the nursery booked him to do a party for all of the kids in nursery, which was really cool. He's always wanted to be a professional magician. He just loves magic. He can't get enough of it. He wants to go out and perform all the time. We're currently putting a 2-person family show together. Because me and Ryland just love doing magic together. So we're currently we've got this 2-person thing that we do on stage in corporates and things like that, but we're doing this 2-person family show together that's kind of designed for families, and the idea is that we're going to go out and do some festivals next year, and we're going to have this this family show, and it's going to be very much a me versus him thing. If anybody remembers the old days of Slightly Unusual, when it was me and Russell Leeds, and it was like that whole dynamic, we're going to have that. So it's going to be me versus Ryland, and we've been working on these set pieces. What I don't want it to be is like a 2-person show where one person does a trick, then somebody else comes on and does a trick. I want it to be kind of really well constructed, a good 40-minute show where we're on stage the entire time, and it takes advantage that there's 2 people on stage. So we're doing that, and we're doing this incredible thing with Lego we're putting together for the finale because he loves Lego. So I mean, he wants to be a professional magician. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. I've always just said to my son, I've said to Ryland, you know, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Absolutely anything. My dad, as much as I loved him to bits, and I did, God rest his soul, there wasn't a day went by where he didn't tell me, you know, you've got a degree. You know, why are you wasting your time doing this magic thing? Get a proper job. Go get a proper job. It's embarrassing that you're a magician. And I've got friends that are incredible magicians, and you know, they've come out of uni and they've decided to not continue with magic full time, even though they're absolutely brilliant. And instead, they've gone and got themselves a proper job. And a lot of the time, it's down to pressure. It's down to pressure from family or friends or something like that. And I've always said to Ryland, you know, you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to be a footballer, you can be a footballer. If you want to be a magician, you can be a magician. If you want to be a skateboarder, you can be a skateboarder. If you want to be a drummer, you can be a drummer. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do anything as long as you apply yourself and you work hard. So at the moment, I think he wants to become a footballer stroke magician. Don't know how that'll work out. And all the other stuff he does is for fun. But I'm sure that'll change. A few weeks ago, he wanted to be a Lego builder stroke magician. It's always magician. Magician's always in there along with something else. And I think one of the reasons he likes magic is because he gets paid. He gets paid to do magic. So we pay him every single time he does a gig. We pay him to do the review show with me. We pay him to do the review show because, you know, he's spending time and effort learning the tricks, and he's coming on camera and he's presenting it, and, you know, we pay him to be in the review show. So he's very confident, but he doesn't have an ego. He wants to be a magician. Would I love to see him as a professional magician? Absolutely. Would I love to hand my businesses over to him and have him part of the family business with Thea? Absolutely. At the moment, he's trying to convince Thea to be in his illusion show because Thea loves dance. And he's like, hey, you love dance. You can be in an illusion show with me. We can do an illusion show together. So that's his plan. But we'll see. We'll see. Thanks very much for asking. It's a really nice question. I really appreciate it. What he ends up doing, I don't know. But at the moment, he wants to be a magician. Okay, guys, that's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you very much for asking all these amazing questions. There would not be a Q&A if it wasn't for you guys. I want you to do a couple of things for me. First of all, like I said, this channel lives and dies by you guys. So I want to know what you want. Do you want me to do less content? Do you want me to do the same amount of content? Please let me know, and I will do whatever you want me to do. Yeah, I mean, just if you've got any questions, please drop the questions down below. I would be happy to answer them. And other than that, I try to answer every question that I can. I try to reply to everybody. It's not always possible, but I try my absolute best. If you want to see more videos like this, please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and I'm going to be back again tomorrow. Well, I'm going to be back this evening, actually. I'm going to be back today. I'm going to be back twice today. 3 times. 2 o'clock, we're going to have a short. 6 o'clock, we're going to have a live. 9 o'clock, we're going to have a review show special. So look for that. That's today. And then on Monday, I'm going to be back here with a 5x5 at 9 o'clock, shorts at 2 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock, a Magic Live. I'll see you again. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic